All right, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Welcome to my channel. My name is Simone Beverly, and we're going to be talking about Saw 10 or Saw X. I'm here with Charlie, and he's going to basically tell you guys a little bit about the plot, and then we're going to give our opinion about our favorite scenes and, stuff like that, if we have any worst scenes and all that good jazz.
Cool, yeah. So pretty much in this movie, Tobin Bell, he goes out trying to find a cure. As usual, as you already know, he's struggling with his cancer. So he is trying any way to get rid of the cancer or to even give him more time, which luckily there is a viable cure that he's told about, but he has to go to Mexico. And of course, craziness ensues. I would say that this, if you want a light recommendation, I would say this is it. This is a pretty decent movie, but spoilers ahead.
Yeah, so there's going to be like a whole bunch of spoilers, basically. So if you haven't seen the movie and you want to know what happened, you can watch the video. But if you don't want to know what happened, don't watch this video because there's going to be spoilers. But basically, in the beginning of the film, he's at the doctor's and they're telling him that he only has a few months to live. And he passes by this guy, this janitor who's stealing from a sick person, this person who's in a coma, right? And he sees him stealing from him. And so he has this imagination of, torturing him with the same contraption that that the sick person is in. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I would say so. That if the sick man, it looks like he's been in a car accident. He has multiple things that are to keep him in place, such as he has a contraption on his hand just to make sure that his fingers are not that they're that well one that the hand is open just so it could it could get his fingers in the right position, because it seems like whatever he suffered probably damaged his hand. So he uses the same device that holds the man's hand in place on this janitor, on him. And as his test, he's set to basically he turns a dial. He turns a dial and he has to sacrifice one finger at a time, and he has to do it before the time limit is up. And if he doesn't, the machine's going to kill him by sucking out his eyeballs.
Oh, man. That was funny. It wasn't funny. It was like crazy. But it was funny because it was just a fucking, it was just an imagination. It was just a fantasy that he had. So then we go to this little cancer AA meeting or something like that. Like it was like a cancer patient meeting for cancer patients, and basically he's meeting with people that all have terminal cancer. So he meets this guy called Henry Kessler, and Henry Kessler says that he got this miracle treatment, and he showed him this huge scar, and he basically gave him the link and the phone number to contact the doctors that have this miracle treatment. So he contacts the doctors that have the miracle treatment, and then they're like, oh yeah, send your medical records over, we could have a look and we could save your life, blah, blah, blah. They're saying it's a mixture of surgery and medicine cocktails.
Which is right there, that's a red flag. If the doctor's telling you, hey, this is and I was saying this the whole movie, it's like, why are you calling it a cocktail? Like, those are like, hey, you want this elixir? It's like there's a bad stigma to that. If I was a doctor, I'd be like, hey, there's this breakthrough in medical science, or if you're even going to call it something, call it a mixture. I wouldn't call it anything. It's just, this is our, blah, blah, blah syndrome. You need to take this so this could cure you. This turns off your genes, which is, I'll tell you the truth. Like, if you know anything about science, turning off genes, it kind of sounds like that's when you die. It's just like, Are you talking about turning off your genes? That makes no sense at all.
Yeah.
But because when you turn off the genes of somebody, you're literally killing that DNA. You're more likely to bring somebody back to life if you're gonna be doing that. But
Yeah, so basically he goes to Mexico. They said that they changed their location to Mexico, and because they have to be discreet and stuff. So he's greeted by he's greeted by this driver. So the driver takes him to this remote location, and then he gets jumped by this black van that looks like the cartel. We thought that he was going to start fighting the cartel.
which was awesome because thinking about Jigsaw versus the cartel, obviously it's impractical, but it's also pretty cool.
Yeah. So he gets jumped by them, and they point guns at him, and it's like, "What's your name?" Blah 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 blah. And they're like, "Oh, you're safe now. You're safe now." So they jump him with guns, and then they're like, "You're safe now, sir." So they take him back to the resort. It looked like a resort or something, and he's greeted by this girl named Gabriella, and he's like, "Oh, what's your name?" And she's like, "My name is Gabriella." And they're like, "Oh, sorry. The doctor that he's talking to, her name is Dr. Peterson." Okay. And she's basically taken over for what her dad was doing. Right. So, basically she was like, "Oh, Gabriella, the little girl that answered the door." Well, she's not little, but she's a young girl, probably like my age, 26 or something like that. 23, maybe. She was like, "Yeah, Miss Peterson saved my life." So apparently she had cancer too, or at least that's what they want you to believe. Yeah, so he's introduced to all the doctors and stuff like that, and they run some tests on him, give him some cocktails, and they do the surgery. They have a camera of them going into his brain and stuff like that, and then
And one thing that is made obvious at this point is that these people have worked with many other cancer patients. They've helped out many other people, and that's what the doctor says that is one of her greatest pleasures in life is being able to help out other people. So it's John Kramer. He feels completely safe in the hands of these people. He's so appreciative. Instead of leaving Mexico, he decides, hey, you know what? I gotta thank these people that open up their hearts to save him. Because in reality, he was good to go. He just had a few more months to live, and when he called them up, they said that they were going to be booked for the next 3 months, but they made a position available for him. So he wants to give back to them. So he goes, gets some what was that? What type of liquor he got?
Tequila.
Yeah, he got some tequila for Gabriella because she gave him some before his surgery, and he wanted to return the favor.
After the surgery. This was after the surgery was successful. So the surgery was successful, and the Dr. Peterson comes up to him and is like, "Have a good long life." So he comes back with the tequila, and he sees that the door is open, and he sees that he goes in there and he sees all the pictures, that all the decorations that were originally in the house, the little resort house he was in, they were all gone. So he went down to the medical room, and he sees the medical room is completely trashed, and he's wondering what happened. Then he found this DVD that's about brain surgery, and he figured out that the DVD that was in there was actually on the screen. They weren't actually showing a camera of his brain being operated on. So basically, and then he realized that one of the doctors that was working on him was actually the driver, the little taxi cab driver that drove him to the resort before he got jumped by the cartel dudes. Okay? So he's realizing now that he just got scammed.
Yes.
Basically. And then he takes off his bandage and realizes that there's no scar on his head. His head's not shaved or anything like that.
Which is honestly, this is a bonehead move. Like, obviously, we're talking about spoilers, but and later on, when you're watching the movie, you're gonna find out that they knew who John Kramer was. They knew that he was Jigsaw. I would think that you would probably do something like, I don't know, get his money and probably find a way to kill him before,
Right.
because, or even like fake it, just like shave his head a little bit. I don't know, cut it just lightly right there in that same spot, just to really sell it.
Yeah.
And who knows, maybe that medication that she gives him, because she gives him, before she says goodbye, she gives him some medication. She says, hey, take this 1 in the morning, 1 in the night for 7 days. Maybe that would have killed him, because honestly, if you're messing with this dude, it's not going to end up well for you, which ends up not ending well for these guys.
Yeah, so basically, he calls on, what's her name?
You're talking about,
His partner, his associate.
yeah, he calls, Swanee Schmidt, which is, her name is Rebecca, or no, sorry, it's Amanda. Yeah. Yeah. So he calls in Amanda, and one by one, he gets a hold of all these people, all the doctors, the associates, everybody that was involved with this operation, and where he gets them all in a warehouse where they're forced to face each other, and he goes and sets himself first on, I believe her name was Veronica, which was the it's Vanessa. He goes after her, and which is the lady that pulled the blood from him to run the test on his blood.
Yeah, so basically, he has her with a, what's it called? What kind of saw is that called? It's like a razor wire saw, one of the sharpest blades ever, I guess. And he's got that around her neck, right in front of her. And then he's got another one, like a hand saw, basically, like a hand saw. It's like a rope saw. I forgot what he said it was called, but basically he said you have to cut your leg off and suck the blood out of it and fill up this tube in order to deactivate the saw that's around your neck. So basically, this girl did it. She did it, and she got her leg off with the saw. She put a tourniquet on and everything, and yeah, she put the little tube in her leg and started sucking the blood, and they had like a screen filter to filter out the fat, and it was really gross. It was really gross, and she did not make it in time. She could not fill the tube up in time, and she got her head cut off slowly. Slowly got her head cut off. It was crazy. It was crazy. But the second guy, he got it bad too. You want to talk about the second guy?
Yeah, the second guy.
Mateo.
Yeah, Mateo. Yeah, Mateo.
He was pretending to be the doctor that performed the surgery.
Yeah,
and he was also the driver.
I think. Well, he was the dude that was the driver. He was the kid. I think his name was David. Remember, he was the guy that he had pipe bombs attached to his arm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that guy, he suffered his own fate, which he escaped out of, but which is fine, because if you know anything about these Jigsaw movies, like there's some people that do get out of their traps, and usually they find a better appreciation for life, and that's who Amanda is. She's actually one of them that was in one of these traps before, and that's why she helps out Jigsaw, because she believes in his message. But anyway, Mateo, I guess he's a veterinarian that sometimes hooks up Gabriella with drugs from his inventory. But obviously all these guys are kind of low lives. They're all just kind of leeching off of the main doctor that runs the whole show. So anyway, Mateo, he gets into a contraption where he has to remove part of his brain matter and put it into a cylinder that's going to dissolve. And if it dissolves a certain amount, it would release him from his contraption. The thing is that if he doesn't, which he ultimately doesn't, after removing a part of his skull and his brain, he also ran out of time. Because that's the thing about these about all these traps that Jigsaw has, is that you're not really supposed to hesitate. you're supposed to just go for it because they give you a real limited amount of time. I think his case was 3 minutes to go through his skull and remove brain matter and then dissolve it just so he could get the key to get out. He ran out of time. So it closes up on him, which had pretty much like those hot wires that are found in your toaster. And it looks like it just grilled his face. But yeah.
Yeah, that was gnarly.
Yeah, that's gnarly because he's kind of suffering while he's burning, Yeah. It's not a quick death, All the while, these guys are still trying to figure some stuff out. They're trying to get out of there. They're blaming the doctor, but the doctor, she's very clinical. She's very cold. She even ripped through one of her other colleagues just to find rope, which she used as the lady's intestines, to just try to get to her cell phone, which she was able to. And she called, we don't know yet, but she called, somebody to come by to help her out. Meanwhile, there's a guy, I think his name is Peter Spires. He comes by, Parker Spires, and he comes by because he was one of the patients before John Kramer, and he's trying to get revenge on them too. But John Kramer, he gets a hold of him with Amanda, and they tie him down and they get him to watch what he's doing. And this guy's looking, I just want my money. I just want to get the hell out of here, and I want to shoot that doctor in the face. And John Kramer gives him the rules. We're gonna make everything right, but there's no guns. There's no guns. That's part of the rules. So John Kramer takes his gun, and meanwhile, Parker Spires, he watches the monitors. These the rest of the people, which is Gabriella and the doctor, they're pretty much trying to figure out a way out of this, but there's no hope. At this point, it seems like there's no hope. But the doctor's the only one that's really trying to get out of it because she knows that the place, what John Kramer says is that he's going to lock up the place with them inside. So she's trying to figure out a way out of it too.
Yeah, so the next one, well, I don't know if we should tell you guys like every single, should we tell them?
Oh no, that's up to you.
Yeah, I don't think we should tell you guys every single entrapment that they were in because that would like really, really spoil the movie. But this is kind of like just our review. Like, what was your favorite scene? I would say.
I would definitely say my favorite scene, and this is funny because this is shoot. There's a moment where John Kramer actually believes that he's cured, and you've seen, if you've watched these movies before, and for me, I when these movies came out, I absolutely love them. It's a guy that's dealing with cancer. He's suffering through life, and he sees that there's a lot of other suffering, unnecessary suffering in life. And with this cancer, he kind of got like a different perspective on life because he's kind of like a Walter White. If you've watched Breaking Bad, he's gone through his whole life just droning on, working for some other person. And now this is the end. And you got to have appreciation for that life. Obviously, he has his own story. I'm not going to get into that because those are those movies. But if you've been following this character, to see him believe that he has a second chance on life, he looks over a balcony. He sees you pretty much like the hills of Mexico and their statues and whatever. He is hopeful. It's a kind of a beautiful shot. But yeah, I honestly think that's one of my favorite scenes in the whole series.
Okay. I don't know if I had a favorite scene because I don't like Saw movies. I'm not like into like gore porn, I guess that's what it's called. I think the plot was really good. I would say, I think I like the ending. We'll let you guys watch the ending. The ending is really good when, the doctor and the guy that actually, well, I'm not going to tell you guys, whatever. It's just interesting at the end what happens, especially to Henry Kessler, the guy that told John in the first place that, these doctors have miracle cures. Turns out he was in on the scam too. I'll just say that, and you can see what happened to him. But yeah, that's our review, guys. We're gonna be doing this more often when we go to the movies.
Would you recommend to go see it?
Yeah, yeah, I would. I would recommend go seeing it for sure. We might give a review on Talk to Me. Might watch that again and give a review on that or something. That movie was probably the best movie of the year. But yeah, let us know what you guys think. And until then, we'll see you guys when we see you guys.